Um,
Section 3,
Yes.
the crowdsourcing myth.
Crowdsourcing, yes.
I just had this conversation, actually, with Millicent. We just today, we recorded the bulk of the foundation of Millicent Hughes' album.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. She's kind of in that vein. She's always asking me, like, who do I sound like? I'm like, Tori Amos, Fiona Apple, but not dark. Sarah McLachlan, but not cheesy. But, you know, female singer, piano player.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna overdub a band underneath this.
Okay.
I'll probably play bass. And I'm looking at my upright behind the camera. So, the problem with crowdsourcing, if you have, let's say, 100 people that want to help,
Mm-hmm.
crowdsourcing is really only works for existing fans.
Yeah.
You don't pick up new fans trying to crowdsource. It's like
No.
it's like trying to start a Patreon when you got 4 people. I mean, hey, if 4 people want to give me $1 every month, I will set up something. You can set that up. I will figure out how to set that up. If a bunch of people want to throw $1 at me every month, I figure if everybody wants to shove $5 at me a month, I'm getting ready to set up subscriptions on Bandcamp.
Okay.
Because I don't know, we got to generate some revenue for these artists, and we gotta figure out how to increase sales across the board.
Right.
So, but with crowdsourcing, the idea is simply, you know, you don't have to work with a record label. You can just raise the money yourself and hire a studio and hire a mixer, hire a mastering engineer, and you can just build it all into the budget. The problem is raising the funds.
Right.
And she was giving me an example of a singer who was trying to do this crowdsourcing thing, trying to raise $6,000.
Okay. Anybody ever heard of this singer before?
I mean, some, but not famous. A small following, right?
Okay.
Probably about, you know, let's assume the Jazz Destroyer size following.
Okay.
A couple hundred people, right? Well, to raise $6,000, you need 600 people to give you $10.
Uh-huh.
Or you need 300 people to give you $20.
Uh-huh.
Or you need 150 people to give you $40.
Yes.
Or 75 people to give you $80. Or 60 people to give you $100. Problem is, if you've got a fan base of like 200 people, good luck even getting them to all kick in $10.
Yeah.
Crowdsourcing is a wonderful, wonderful idea. Radiohead, Trent Reznor, Jomo and the Possum Posse crowdsourced their first couple albums. We're doing the live one, but their studio stuff was all crowdsourced. All have significant fan bases.
Yes.
Hundreds of people ready to just going, shut up and take my money.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you crowdsource. And so I was talking to Millicent, and she said, why would I want to work with Scummy major label? I said, because they'll make you famous. That's the whole point. They will throw so many marketing dollars behind you that you will, if you think of your fan base as a mushroom, right? Mm-hmm. The stem of the mushroom is your true fans. Mm-hmm. In order to hit that 1,000 true fans that we hear so much about, the head of the mushroom is going to be much, much larger. You need hundreds of thousands of people to know about you in order to find those 1,000 that are really into it.
Okay.
So crowdsourcing is wonderful if you already have that.
Sure.
Because you don't need to spend $1 million to make a record. You can do it very competently for $6,000, and that's probably paying a producer, a known producer, a fee. Mm-hmm. I hear $6,000 to $8,000 a lot for these kinds of records for named producers. And hey, I would love to make a few grand every record. That would be nice.
Sure.
Be great. But I don't think if you're doing it with a named producer, it kind of makes sense because they will have a significant fan base that are ready to buy anything they make. And if they're actually able to leverage that and raise the funds for you, go for it, right? But if you're trying to raise $6,000 out of nowhere, find somebody with a recording rig who will do it for a couple $100. There are plenty of competent people out there. More people graduate audio school than lawyers, I think, at this point. Everybody's got a buddy with a recording rig.
Sure.
The important thing, if you're doing the buddy thing, is be ready.
Yeah. Don't waste their time.
You can't go in going, well, I don't know what I'm going to make a bunch of mistakes. Yeah, you're going to make a bunch of mistakes. You got to be able to play it all the way through, and you got to be able to play it well enough where you're happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you work your way backwards from there for the rest of it. But you have to be able to do a good continuous take. That's the foundation. And there's probably significant prep work and all these things that have to be done. But the point is, don't try crowdsourcing unless you're already pretty well known.
Yeah.
Then crowdsourcing is that is how to raise the capital needed. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you need somebody else's capital. In our case, I don't charge for the recording.
Right.
I don't even recoup the recording.
Right.
I recoup my cassettes at $2 a piece, but that's it. I just spent 4 or 5 hours today recording. I'm taking a cut. Hopefully it's successful, and I make my money back. But I'm investing my capital in the fact that I already have the rig and I have the expertise and I can just do it.
Yeah.
If you don't have somebody who can do that, then you need somebody with deep enough pockets that can fund that.
Right.
And if you can find 50 people to give you $100, that's $5,000. You can do it. But you need to then target people who can give you $100 to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know anything about finding that audience. They're around. People do it. But you're probably, if you're able to do that, you're probably already doing it.
Right. I mean,
unless you hang out with rich people. Right? If you hang out with wealthy people, people that can throw $100 at something that may or may not even come out.
yeah, there's some really rich people that really like the idea of basically having their name on an album as having funded it,
And not even rich, just well off.
Sure.
People who have met their sufficient needs and then have money to spare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew a guy who did that one time. He produced a record in that he paid for the studio time and sent the band down there to do it. And then he got producer, and he was very proud of it, and he showed me a copy. I produced a record, and you go. It was great. I was really proud of him. He was really, I produced a film, but I got into the trenches.
You did.
I learned everything that I needed to know how to be a film. I basically figured out how to become a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of making my own script, I made somebody else's script.
Right.
And let him make the casting decisions. God, I'm tired.
I'm glad you said that, because otherwise it sounded like you regretted his
No, I don't.
decisions.
I don't. There's a couple decisions I probably would have done differently, but it is what it is, right? We made the film.
Uh-huh.
We made a soundtrack for the film, which I need to just get that all put together for
Yes.
CDs.
At some point here, yes.
I really am. This is nuts. This is hard. So
Well, then let's get through it then.
Yeah. So don't think of crowdfunding as your ticket. Your ticket is probably going out, playing the gigs,
Uh-huh.
and then taking down email addresses and saying, hey, I'm trying to put a record together. If you can throw $10 in the tip jar, write your email address on a piece of paper, throw it in there with it, and I will send you an update. I will send it, and then be ready to give away copies to people who help fund it. And something like that will help offset it, but really you're going to have to make a record, you have to know how to keep your costs low, or you need to know how to acquire capital.
Mm-hmm.
Crowdfunding is not your solution.
Yeah. No, not at all.
If you're already famous, why are you watching my videos? Get in contact, let's make a record if you're already famous. Could use, it is nice working with people that will have some guaranteed sales, but
yeah,
that's fine. All right. So, if you're trying to make a project and you need help, leave a comment, right? Let me know what help you need. As long as I have some time, I'm happy to consult with people, try to walk you through the steps, because producing is really just about breaking everything down to small, bite-sized pieces that you can achieve.
Yes.
And then it all comes together and becomes a project. All right, let's move on. What's next?